The champagne was cheap, but Karen's smile was expensive as she tilted her head toward the quiet man next to her.
Oh, this is Jonathan, the janitor who's been helping me out. Wait, your boyfriend is the janitor? He's been so supportive. Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without his night shifts.
The laugh that followed wasn't kind. It was sharp like a scalpel finding the softest part of him. Jonathan Reed had been scrubbing lab floors since 2 in the morning so she could wear that cap and gown.
My night shifts. While she studied, I cleaned.
He set the glass down. 40 minutes later, he was behind the wheel, the rain lashing the windshield like a judgment. He didn't turn on the radio. He didn't cry. He just kept driving. Past the research lab, past the research lab, past their apartment, past any place that held her name.
He didn't know where he was going, only that he couldn't stop.
The morning arrived with no sympathy. Jonathan sat on the edge of the bed, eyes open, not seeing the room.
That photo on the nightstand, it burned. He didn't touch it.
By 7, he was already inside Whitfield Research, the familiar smell of bleach and burnt coffee greeting him.
Jonathan, it's barely light out. Everything all right?
No, Dr. Voss. I am resigning. Effective now.
He walked past the stunned professor to his locker. Behind the mop bucket, a thick manila envelope waited.
The patent. Jonathan, you can't just abandon it. We're close.
I am not abandoning it. I am taking control of my half.
Minutes later, his car peeled out of the parking lot. The lab receded in the rearview mirror, taking his old life with it. This time, he wasn't running from something. He was driving toward the only thing Karen could never mock, his own invention. 6 years dissolved like salt in water. When the taxi pulled up to Westbrook Medical Center, Dr. Karen Hayes was not looking for ghosts. She stepped out into the morning sun, the new wing gleaming ahead, a monument of glass and gold.
This is it. Years of sacrifice and late nights, all leading to this moment.
The sliding doors parted, and her heels clicked confidently across the polished floor. A sign caught her eye. Reed Family Foundation Wing. Grand opening tomorrow.
Reed. The name prickled at her memory. A distant echo she couldn't place.
She shook it off. Probably a local philanthropist. Nothing to do with her. The golden plaque on the wall read, "Dedicated to healing and innovation." She traced the letters with her eyes.
A new beginning. No room for old shadows.
She adjusted her white coat and walked into the wing, her future stretching ahead, pristine and unwritten. Her first week at Westbrook was a blur of new faces and protocols. Yet the name Reed followed her like a half-remembered song. One evening she sat at her desk and typed into the search bar, Reed Family Foundation founder.
No photo, no biography, just generic descriptions and a section on community health.
A colleague from administration had shrugged. The founder was just a regular working man who made it big. Very secretive.
That description settled uncomfortably in her stomach, a stone she couldn't quite pass.
The next afternoon, rounding a corridor, she almost collided with a janitor pushing a mop. He had dark hair and a quiet face. Her breath caught. For a split second, the fluorescent light turned the corridor into a different hallway years ago.
It's nothing, just a janitor. There are thousands of janitors in the world.
She forced a polite nod and walked on, but the ghost of a memory brushed her spine and refused to let go. She buried the unease under patient charts and rounds, but the name Reed lingered like a splinter she couldn't extract. 3 days before the ribbon cutting, silk banners bloomed in the corridors. The silver R was impossible to miss. Karen stopped mid-stride, coffee in hand. The name Reed seemed to hum against the silk, louder than it should, and for a split second, the corridor dissolved. She heard it again. Oh, this is Jonathan, the janitor who's been helping me out.
Number. That was years ago. He's gone. It's just a name.
She forced her feet to move, but the echo of her own laughter, 10 years past, clung to the back of her throat. Back in her office, the patient chart before her blurred. The name Reed had crawled under her skin like a slow infection.
A regular working man, the colleague said. A nobody who made it. Could it possibly? No, impossible.
She avoided the East Corridor entirely after that. took the long way to the cafeteria. Yet the logo still found her on memos, on screens, on the tongue of every administrator.
If I don't think about it, it isn't true. He doesn't exist anymore.
But the splinter was in too deep, and somewhere in the city, a black car was headed toward the same hospital. The nurse's station buzzed with pre-ceremony gossip. Karen slowed to refill her coffee, listening despite herself.
I heard the anonymous donor used to mop floors somewhere. A janitor who hit it big, can you believe it?
A janitor? A janitor named Reed.
Her fingers went cold. The coffee sloshed unnoticed. The name she'd been denying for a week crashed against the dam of her composure. She locked her office door and yanked open her laptop with shaking hands. The search bar pulsed, waiting. An old article surfaced. From janitor to billionaire, mystery patent sells for record sum. No photo, no name. The silhouette was faceless, but she didn't need a face. The lab, the timing, the word janitor, they all pointed to one man.
It's him. It has to be him. My ex-fiancé, the janitor, built this wing.
She slammed the laptop shut, breath shallow. The air in the room felt too thin. The plaque in the corridor, the one she'd admired on her first day, now read like a sentence. And she was convicted. She didn't sleep that night. The article from earlier burned in her memory, a fire she couldn't put out.
If I can just find the patent filing, I'll know for sure. No more guesswork.
She scoured business archives. An article from a regional trade journal surfaced, describing a small Midwestern research lab. The phrase night janitor turned inventor seemed to lift off the screen and wrap around her throat.
Whitfield, the same lab, the same shifts. It's not a coincidence. It's him.
She tried to access the actual patent records, but a paywall blocked her. Her credit card was declined on 2 different databases.
I have to know, but maybe not knowing is safer.
She stared at her reflection in the dark monitor, a woman she barely recognized, hollowed out by fear. The ceremony was 48 hours away. She felt like she was walking into her own execution. At 2 a.m., the office was a tomb. She sat motionless, then lifted the laptop lid again.
One last try. I need to see his name.
She entered a forgotten research credential from her fellowship. The patent database speened and opened. In the search field, she typed, Reed, Jonathan. The cursor pulsed like a heartbeat. The result appeared. Self-cleaning surgical tool, prototype. Inventor, Jonathan Reed. Assignee, Whitfield Research. His full name. His invention. Everything he'd been building while she paraded him as the janitor.
After 6 years, he found a way to stand right in front of me without showing his face.
She slammed the laptop shut so hard the desk lamp flickered. The dark rushed in, tight and suffocating. She pressed her palm against her chest. The secret was a live grenade, and she was the only one in the room.
No one can know. Not tonight, not ever.
Her car rolled into the apartment lot just before dawn. The engine ticked like a countdown. Inside, she poured whiskey into a coffee mug. No toast, no pause. Just the burn and the hollow quiet.
He built a whole wing just to corner me. He's waited 6 years for this moment.
In the bathroom mirror, her reflection accused her. Red-rimmed eyes, clenched jaw, the ghost of a smirk she once wore so easily.
If I skip the ceremony, I'll never know what he planned. I'll always run, but if I go, he wins. He'll see me flinch. He'll know I remember.
She splashed water on her face, and the cold brought clarity. Not fear, defiance.
I am not the same girl who giggled at that party. If he wants to play games, I'll stand there and take it.
She dried her hands, picked up her car keys, and set them on the nightstand, ready for tomorrow. No one else knew. She would walk into that ceremony alone, wearing the badge he paid for, and see if the ghost was real. The next morning, Westbrook Medical Center buzzed with anticipation. Silk banners lined every corridor. Karen arrived early, her badge heavy. CEO Darnell was supervising the plaque's final positioning.
Perfect. And tomorrow, our anonymous founder will finally step into the light. What a day.
The words hit Karen like a physical blow. The ghost was real and would have a face. She excused herself, pulse hammering. The rest of the day passed in a panicked haze. That night, sleep came in fragments. Karen tossed, tangled in her sheets. In her dream, the graduation party twisted. Laughter turned to screeches, champagne flutes shattered, and Jonathan stood in shadows, eyes aflame. He no longer looked small. He was immense, a silent judge, and the plaque behind him bore her own name. Karen jolted awake, gasping, her pillow soaked. The clock read 3:17 a.m. She sat up, gripping the sheets. The ceremony was now only hours away. No more running. The lobby was transformed. Red ribbon, flowers, a hum of expectation. Karen stepped inside, her hands hidden in her coat pockets. She positioned herself near the back, where the shadows gathered. Her badge felt like an anvil.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor to introduce the founder of the Reed Family Foundation. Please welcome, for the first time publicly, Mr. Jonathan Reed.
The name detonated in her chest. The crowd applauded. She couldn't move. A man in charcoal stepped onto the stage. No tie, unbuttoned collar. Calm as deep water. Calm as deep water.
It's him. 6 years, and he looks like a stranger who never needed me.
Jonathan Reed scanned the room once, the ghost of a smile playing at his lips. He didn't stop on her face. She was invisible. Maybe he hadn't recognized her. Maybe that was worse. She willed her legs to move, but they refused. The ceremony had only begun. Jonathan approached the microphone, his presence filling the silence. The crowd leaned in.
I believe in second chances. This wing is proof that everyone deserves to build something lasting.
He never glanced her way. Not once. The omission was louder than any applause. He lifted the ceremonial scissors. The blades glinted as they sliced the red ribbon cleanly in two. The applause erupted, a wave of sound. Karen clapped mechanically, her palms numb.
He didn't see me, or maybe he did, and I am not worth acknowledging.
After the cut, Jonathan shook hands with CEO Darnell. A firm, polite grip, nothing more. He looked past Darnell toward the crowd, his eyes scanning without landing. A practiced indifference.
Is he pretending, or did he really erase me?
The ceremony dissolved into reception chatter. The wing was open. She stood stranded in a sea of celebration. The reception swirled around her. Jonathan moved through the crowd like a man who owned the room. Karen nursed a champagne flute, the bubbles like acid. She tracked him, waiting for a crack.
He's playing a role. 6 years can't erase a grudge.
CEO Darnell's voice cut through the noise. He was at Jonathan's elbow, scheduling something private.
Mr. Reed, we've arranged a private tour of the wing at 2. I'd be honored if you'd join me.
I'd like that.
The word tour hit Karen like a pulse of electricity. She had to be on it.
This is insane. But if I don't go, I'll never know why he's really here.
She approached Darnell, smile fixed. As a new staff member, she could answer clinical questions. Professional, unreadable. Darnell beamed. Brilliant, Dr. Hayes. We'll meet at the east entrance. The trap was set. At 2 sharp, the tour group assembled. Jonathan led, Darnell at his side. Karen trailed 3 paces behind. The guide recited statistics about the wing, bed capacity, funding, but the air was thick with something unspoken.
Walk faster. Get it over with. Or turn around and say something.
Jonathan listened, nodding at the right moments, his hands clasped loosely behind his back.
He's so calm. It's like he's conducting a symphony. I can't hear.
Darnell glanced back once, giving Karen an encouraging nod. She responded with a tight smile.
If he's playing a game, he's winning. Every meter we walk, I am dissolving.
Jonathan paused to examine a piece of equipment, asking a technical question. His voice was smooth, untroubled.
He hasn't looked at me. Not once. It's deliberate. It has to be.
The group rounded a corner, the plaque glinting ahead. The tour was still young, and Karen felt the knot in her stomach coil tighter. The group reached the cardiology ward. Tessa, cheerful in bright scrubs, spotted Jonathan and almost bounced over.
Mr. Reed, I am Tessa. We're so honored you are here. And wait, have you met our newest cardiologist, Dr. Hayes?
Karen's blood froze. She saw Tessa point directly at her. Time stretched to a single, taut thread.
She's right over there. Started just this week. A brilliant addition to the team.
Jonathan's gaze swept the group, unhurried until it landed. On her, their eyes met. Not a flicker of surprise crossed his features. Just a calm, unreadable stillness.
He knows. He's always known. And he's waited 6 years for this second.
The moment stretched into an eternity. The tour guide's voice became a distant hum. Tessa, blissfully ignorant, smiled and stepped back, leaving an opening neither of them filled. Then Jonathan did something more terrifying than anger. He inclined his head, almost imperceptibly, and turned back to the tour. Jonathan's attention shifted back to Tessa, as if Karen were a footnote. His voice arrived calm, surgical.
Hospitals always need good janitors, too. Make sure she's welcome.
Tessa's bright expression flickered. She laughed, uncertain. The joke, if it was one, didn't land.
The floor dropped. He returned my own insult, surgically, in front of everyone who works under me.
Karen's hand rose to her mouth, pressing hard. The other staff exchanged glances, but they were deaf to the subtext.
Oh, of course. We'll make certain Dr. Hayes feels right at home.
Jonathan inclined his head once, a polite dismissal, and resumed walking. The tour guide scrambled to follow. The group moved on, a current of white coats and polite chatter. Karen remained anchored to the floor.
He remembered every word, and he just buried me with them, without raising his voice.
She watched his charcoal suit disappear around the corner. The golden plaque glinted behind her, a monument to her undoing. Karen's legs carried her forward, but not toward the tour. She found a restroom 3 corridors away and locked herself inside. She gripped the cold sink, head bowed. The fluorescent buzz filled the silence where her composure used to be.
Make sure she's welcome. He might as well have handed me a mop.
She stared at her reflection, a doctor, an achiever, reduced to a punchline by a 6-year-old wound she inflicted herself.
He remembered every word, the exact phrase, and he waited until he owned the building to use it.
The air in the restroom felt thin. She pressed her palm flat against the mirror, meeting her own hollow eyes.
I can't walk these halls again. Not with his name on every wall, his victory stitched into the curtains.
She splashed cold water, the shock clearing the fog. When she looked up again, the woman in the mirror had made a decision.
I'll finish my shift, then I'll leave. No scene, no goodbyes. He doesn't get to see me crumble.
She dried her face, straightened her coat, and stepped back into the corridor. The wing still hummed with celebration, but for her, it had become a mausoleum. The next 3 hours passed in a clinical fog. Karen checked vitals, adjusted medications, her voice flat and distant.
Tessa smiled her way through a question. I answered. I don't remember what I said.
A colleague noted she looked pale. She smiled, said it was just the excitement. At 5:15, she closed her last patient file and set it aside with deliberate precision. She walked to the on-call room, the hallway quieter now. At her locker, she spun the combination like a ritual.
This badge, he paid for it. Every letter on that plaque paid for it.
She unhooked it from her coat and laid it on the empty desk, face up, photo still smiling. She didn't look back. Her footsteps echoed down the Reed Wing corridor, one final time.
No one stops me. No one even notices another doctor leaving.
The automatic doors slid open, and Karen Hayes walked out of the building her ex-fiancé built. She never returned. She found her car and slid inside. The staff lot was silent, except for the distant hum of the highway. For a long minute, she stared at the steering wheel. Her fingers rested in her lap like dead things. Then her forehead hit the leather. The sobs came like a cave-in, sudden and total. Everything she'd built since med school, gone because of 6 words he'd kept warm for 6 years. She cried until the rearview mirror showed a stranger. Puffy, streaked, raw.
The stranger wasn't a doctor anymore, just a woman who'd lost.
She straightened, turned the key. The engine was a promise to keep moving. As she pulled out, the hospital wing filled her mirror, gold plaque glinting like a victory flag. She didn't stop. She merged onto the highway, and the building shrank to a speck. Karen Hayes drove west. She didn't look back, and the car didn't give her a choice. In the penthouse of his own foundation, Jonathan Reed stood at the window, a glass of water trembling in his hand. The door opened. His assistant, a silhouette, asked if the ceremony had gone as he wished.
Exactly as planned.
Behind his eyes, a reel spun. Himself at 3 a.m., a mop in his hands, bleach in his lungs, and a fiancée who never asked how his night had been. A cramped room, a second-hand laptop, textbooks stacked like walls. He'd taught himself corporate law, engineering, everything they said he'd never need. Then a boardroom, a pen, and a signature that had turned him into a billionaire while she was still practicing bedside manner. The reel stopped. In the present, candles flickered on the boardroom table. He permitted himself a tight, private smile, but the smile did not reach his eyes. It was the smile of a man who had climbed a mountain, only to find the summit cold.
She's gone. I won. So, why does victory feel this still?
He set down the glass, the water untouched. The city glittered below, indifferent. And for the first time he wondered if the bill had come due. The city bled into a bruised twilight. Without thinking, she turned onto a familiar street, the asphalt older than memory. The old Whitfield Research Building rose ahead, dark windows like empty eyes. She pulled over, engine idling. Her hands rested on the wheel. She didn't get out. She just stared, the silence louder than any apology. Her lips moved, forming a word no one heard. Sorry. It dissolved into the windshield like breath.
You'll never hear it, and that's the part I can't forgive.
She sat there a minute longer, then shifted into drive. The lab receded, a ghost in the mirror. Her car merged into the current of city traffic, indistinguishable from every other set of taillights heading nowhere special.
I won't come back. Not to the lab, not to the hospital, maybe not even to this city.
The last light leached from the sky, and Karen Hayes drove into the dark, carrying only the silence she'd earned. Behind her, the lab stood empty, and the hospital wing burned its golden name into the night. Neither waited. The corridor lay silent under the hum of night. A single janitor pushed a mop across the polished floor. The golden plaque caught the light, the name Reed burning faintly, a monument to a long, quiet war. Karen's office sat dark and bare, the desk holding nothing but a paperclip and the ghost of an ID badge. On a side table, the ceremonial scissors rested, still threaded with a snipped strand of red ribbon. The janitor moved on, passing the plaque without pause. The water in his bucket swayed, unrippled. Outside, the sky softened to pearl. The new wing stood polished and still, holding its secrets. Dusk painted the campus again, the wing a silhouette against the fading gold, peaceful but heavy. The plaque gleamed in the twilight, an enduring sentence. No one read it this late. Beside the scissors, the congratulatory flowers wilted, petals curling like finished chapters. The Reed Family Foundation wing stood in the quiet, a triumph and a tombstone, and the world moved on.